Lesson 7.3, Video 4, Inverse Trig Ratios. So we're going to focus on what is an inverse trig ratio. Again, we're going to use our calculators to do this for us, but we're going to go backwards. So right now, to solve this problem for G, okay, to find angle G, we have to solve for G. And to undo cosine, we will do cosine inverse of cosine G, but we have to do both sides. So in other words, just like undoing a square, we would square root. The opposite of cosine is cosine inverse. And on your calculators, if you have a cosine button, cosine inverse is right above it. So you'd have to use a second function button to get to it, most likely. And again, what cosine inverse does is it cancels out cosine, and you're left with G equals cosine inverse of 0.53. So you'd plug in, so you'd do second function cosine 0.53, and that would give you 58 degrees approximately. Again, make sure your calculator is in degrees. The next one, we would do tan inverse of both sides, which would give us again, tan inverse would cancel out the tan, but you have to do it to both sides, and that would give us about 66 degrees. And then to undo sine, we would do sine inverse of 0.978, and that would give us m. So we're undoing the sine by doing sine inverse, and that would give us about 78 degrees. If your calculator is not doing that, then we're going to want to check and see if your calculator is in degrees and so on. Alright, so let's apply this. So we want to find angle E and F. So angle E, if we look at that, we don't have the opposite side, so we're not going to use sine. But we do have, again, this is considered hypotenuse and this would be considered adjacent. So SOHCAHTOA, the one that would work best here would be the one that uses adjacent and hypotenuse. So A and H, and that is cosine. So cosine of E is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Now you can get a fraction for that, or a decimal for that if you like, or just do cosine inverse of 12/13, and that would give you about 23 degrees. Now to find F, you can use trig, which you should get used to, or you know they all add up to 180, so you can subtract these two angles from 180, the 90 and 23. But to practice trig, we're going to do this. So now we're looking for F. So again, I have opposite now in hypotenuse, which is sine. So sine of F is equal to 12/13. So to solve, we would do sine inverse of 12/13, and that would give us 67 degrees approximately, and that is angle F. But again, you can skip that last one if you just want to use the triangle sum theorem where you have all of them adding up to 180. Alright, and our last one, so let's start with J. So if you look from J, we have opposite and hypotenuse. That is sine. So sine of J is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. To solve this, we would do sine inverse of our fraction, and that would equal J, which in this case would be about 55 degrees. Alright, again, you can use triangle sum to find the last one, but we're going to solve it. We're looking from K. So again, K would give us adjacent and hypotenuse. So adjacent and hypotenuse is cosine. Adjacent over hypotenuse. So to solve this one, we would do cosine inverse of the fraction 9/11. And that would give us about 35 degrees. And this ends lesson 7.3, video 4.